must be a million girls here in this great big city. I know that one of them is just right for me. Hi, I'm Larry John McNally, and I'm a songwriter. Very lyric-driven songwriter. Although I have full understanding of musical theory, and I love playing the guitar equally, almost separately. The lyric is the hard part. Music is a physical thing. And you start playing, it's a physical action, and singing as well. And you can get lost in it and play around and a lot will come out. But lyrics are strictly a mental thing. Unfortunately, the goal is to make what is a mental, intellectual process sound like it just rolled right off your tongue, and that's the hard part. It has to be played with and shaped to sound conversational, at least for my taste, and natural, and yet the process is not particularly natural. A good example is Leonard Cohen. His singing was not, his singing had a great vibe to it, but he wouldn't be considered a singer like Chaka Khan. It was the incredible depth and poetry of his lyric. I read once that he would write 100 verses and pick the best 4. So that's how big of a job that is. I have a notebook that I keep going. I read a lot. I write phrases down, things that people say I write down. In terms of writing in the notebook, I'll give you an example. I have a song that I wrote called Nobody's Girl that Bonnie Raitt recorded on her Nick of Time album. And I remember where I was when something just popped into my head. She's nobody's girl. That was all I had. And it really struck me as evocative. Who was nobody's girl? And what's my relationship to nobody's girl? So I would say the next step I took had to do with rhyme, which I like to do, which is, before I paint myself into a corner, what rhymes with nobody's girl? And I wrote a few things like, she's fragile like a string of pearls. She's alone in this world. Those lines seem to really paint a picture of who this person was that I was writing about. And I explored them and wrote about it. And then the first line of the song, she don't need anybody to tell her she's pretty. She's heard it every single day of her life. I've got to wonder what she sees in me when there's so many others standing in line. So that paints a picture of the girl and my relationship to her, and quite a bit of complicated interaction. You suddenly have a picture of her and of the singer. I think it's very important to have a strong opening in the song. And then you go to the deeper second verse or whatever can be the deeper exploration of that. And I don't really like bridges. In England they call them middle eights. But some people absolutely love them. And that's a chance for you to step back and add a little bit something different, maybe a comment on the rest of the song, just take you out of it for a minute. And then maybe come back to another verse or the chorus. But I got into quite a bit of subject matter in that song, so much so that so many people wrote to me and said, who is nobody's girl? I think I know her, or I think I am her. So whoever I was writing about, I realized from that song that the more personal, the more universal. You write about your experience, and there are multitudes out there who have had the same experience, and that's your job. Your job is to be the articulator for the inarticulate. Your job is to articulate what the experience of being alive is, so that those who don't quite know how to do that, when you sing, they feel, yes, that's my story, and he's telling my story, and I don't feel so alone anymore. That to me is the songwriter's job. She don't need anybody to tell him she's pretty. She's heard it every single day of her life. got to wonder what she sees in me when there's so many others standing in line. She gives herself to me, but I'm still on the outside. She's alone in this world. She's nobody's girl. Yeah, she's nobody's girl. I think nobody's girl, sometimes I've thought, well, actually, the person I'm writing about, the nobody's girl, is actually myself. And funny enough, Bonnie Raitt had me change a few lyrics so that a girl could sing it, because she has a bigger fan base than mine. When I hear people sing it, they sing it her version, rarely my version. Mine was strictly a guy's version. The other day I was at a supermarket and they were throwing away the boxes that bring fruit and vegetables, and they all have beautiful artwork on them. And one of them was called The Lesser Evil, and I can't remember what it was, apples or something. And I thought, The Lesser Evil, no, that's something that really hit me, and I went home and wrote it in my notebook. And I don't know where I'm going to go with it, but it touched something in me. The feeling of, haven't you ever felt this feeling of, it's not what I want to do, but it's the lesser evil and I have to choose one, so I'm going to go there. And we'll see where this goes. But usually what happens is I write that down and then I start pondering situations I've been in, people I've been with, decisions that you've made, good or bad, that you may regret, that you may not. So I start thinking about things that I regret, things that I don't regret, and there's plenty of it. So the material starts to lead the song as opposed to me steering it. The material opens up things. I'll think about a particular situation that I heavily regret and write about it. And it may not even end up being called The Lesser Evil, but that just, a light bulb went off in my head when I saw that, and it opened the door. And in came song ideas. Why do I choose these lines to put in my notebook? And I think I choose them because unconsciously I'm trying to figure things out or express something. And the unconsciousness leads. And suddenly the story has unfolded, and in a way it's news to me, but it has to do with something I've experienced, or I've seen others experience, or just the human condition in general. It isn't necessarily, well, I broke up with my girlfriend last week and this is for her. All that can happen too, of course. It has to do with, I think I've said this before, that there's a kind of hot wire that runs through all of us, the hot wire of existence. And when you touch upon it, you truly feel what it's like to be alive. And everybody else's hand is on that hot wire. And you are tapping into the human condition. Everything is one. We all are one. There's a jazz song, Everything is Everything, and that's the way it is. Singer can take a song because it touches them in a certain way and make it their own. Your songs don't belong to you after they're in the world. They walk down the street without you. And it's pretty cool for me to, well, go to a Bonnie Raitt concert and hear my personal private thoughts coming back to me through her, through an audience, back to me again, this full circle. It's a pretty amazing feeling. Or being in the supermarket and hearing my song played. Other people, that's their song now. It's not mine. They don't know who I am. They don't know what I went through to write it. It just touches them. That's the beauty of songs. She don't need anybody to tell her she's pretty. She's heard it every single day of her life. I got to wonder what she sees in me when there's so many others standing in line. She gives herself to me, but I'm still only outside.